Welcome to the fastest stop in town. Today we're going to start this Ksubas Daf Ayin. We are going to begin on Ayin Abad Alpha, about 6 lines from the top. Tanan Hasam. So we learned over there, Hapa'otos. Rashi says, are the Tinaikas B'nei Tesha, when it's someone who is 9 years old, or Shmoina, or 8, Kenamrinan B'nezikin. So these are young people. Mekhan Mekach. At least once they've reached the age of 8 or 9 years old, at that stage already their transactions, we say, work. Umechwen mecher, and if they sell things, it's a good sale. But metaltalin, when it comes to metaltalin, but not when it comes to karka. You have to actually produce shtei saros. Rashi says actually ben esrim, 20 years old. Amurapim lo shanu elishen sham apitropos. The only time we say that we allow this is only if there's no apitropos. However, if there's someone else that is the apitropos overseeing the estate, so then even though we normally will allow it when it comes to metaltalin, here we won't. Mamai meditani in masakatana klum, because in our Mishnah we said that the actions of a katan are nothing. Shani. So the Gemara says, then maybe if there's a third party, maybe that is different. The imkain lisni abul b'katani yasa shlish ma shehushlosh biyadai ma ein maseh katana klum shmam nafil b'alma. It shows that at all, that once there's an apitropos, it doesn't work. Question 3: Hamashal shemois levitai abul b'katana ein maseh katana klum. If the katana says, you know what, just give me the money, don't buy the land, it doesn't work because she can't sell it. So ma haisa v'tana shmi'inan b'loshin ein maseh katana klum v'lo tana yasa shlish ma shehushash b'yadai. Let's just say that he's supposed to do what he's supposed to do. Why does he have to add this line? So it comes to tell you the chol makom sheish apitropos ha'pu'utois ein mechach mechach. As we said, that as long as there's not apitropos, the transaction of these kids is not a good sale when it's referring to even metaltalin. Hanulach Matzias Isha, Hanulach Matzias Isha, Hanulach Matzias Isha. We now continue with the 7th parak, Hamadir. Hamadir is Ishto Meli Hanaislo. A person makes a neder saying that his wife cannot get any hana from him. Ad Lamid Yom. So the first 30 days it works, and apparently for some reason he's able to do this. And Yamid Parnes, we will put a Parnes, Rashi as a shliach, some agent, so that she will be sustained during those 30 days. Yes, Mikain, more than the 30 days, Ksuba. That's too much already. We'll see the reason for the 30 days, 2 explanations in the Gemara. When it comes to Yisrael, so when it comes to Yisrael, if he gets divorced, he can always remarry his wife. So we say he has 1 month of Shnaim Yaitzav eating Ksuba. And then the second month, that's it. We give the Kohen a little bit more time, says Rashi, Shimi Gershena, because once she gets divorced from the Kohen, he cannot remarry her. He can't marry Gerusha. The Shema Saifi is Charit, and maybe he'll have regret. So we tack on this extra month for a Kohen. Hamaderes Ishto, a man makes a neder on his wife, Shalo Titaim Echemichol Haperos, that she won't be able to eat these particular types of fruits. So we say that's totally unacceptable. We can't deprive her of being able to enjoy eating, so therefore she leaves with a ksuba. Rabbi Yehuda Omer B'Yisrael Yom Echad Yikayim Shnaim Yaitziv eating ksuba, V'Koyin Shnaim Yikayim Shlosh Yaitziv eating ksuba. Again, when it comes to a Kohen, we give him an extra day. Hamadir as Ish Shlot Tiskashet. You made a neder that she should not have any of these jewelry, or Rashi says koinim boisim ploini olai be'echem mikol haminim yotziting suba. If we're dealing with someone who's poor, shlo nasan kitzba, it's if there's no set amount. Says Rashi, Be'isha aniya imo nasan kitzba l'davar. If there was no set time to the matter, im nasan kitzba, if there was a set time, tamtin ad osuzman, then we wait until that time. For someone wealthy, it's 30 days. Now, the Gemara, doesn't make any sense. The man is obligated to give his wife mazonos. It's a chiyuv that he must do. So how would his neder even mean anything? You can't make a neder when you have a shibud against it. Kol kamine, the mafkele l'shibuda. He has no right to be able to remove it. After all, but Tanan, we learn it says as follows: Koinim, if she says Koinim sheni oisel aficha in sarchel hafer. So as we mentioned before, that she says, I'm not going to give you anything to your mouth, so you don't need to make a hafara because the masiyah deg go to you. Al makivan de mishabdele lav kol kimin de mafkel l'shibuda. So she has no right to be able to make such a neder because she has a chiyuv to give the masiyah deha. So hachanami kivan de mishibud law lav kol kimin de mafkel l'shibuda. So he has a chiyuv just like she has to give him masiyah deha. He has a chiyuv to give her mazonos. So therefore, since he has to give her the mazonos, this neder shouldn't mean anything. So the whole thing should be thrown out to begin with. Because he could say to her, that you should support yourself with your own wages. I'm not going to give you mazonos, and you keep your own masiyah as we continue to Ayin Mabez. It's like he said to her, it's ki'ilu, even though he didn't actually say that language, it's ki'ilu, that's what actually he meant. A woman could say to her husband, don't give me mezainis, and I won't give you my masiyah deha. So then why is it not necessary for hafara? What she could do, because she can make that declaration, say, you know what? Let's just keep everything to ourselves. I'll keep my masiyah, and you, my husband, keep the mazonos, don't give it to me. So l'chayra, since that works, there should be a requirement of hafar, just like we're saying over in our Mishnah that it works. It doesn't mean it's nasikimi. No, that is exactly what was said. This is what he said. You keep your masiyah, and I will not give you mazonos. Sihachi parnas lalala. So I don't understand. So if that was the deal, so then he shouldn't have to have anyone to give her any parnasa, any mazonos, because that was the arrangement. So she could live off her masiyah. Answer is, you're right, but below safka, it's not enough food. Her masiyah do not cover the mazonos that she needs. So ibn below safka hadar kushan laduchte doesn't make sense. He still has an obligation to give her mazonos. So in that situation, he shouldn't be allowed to make this statement. So Omer Rav Ashi b'maspekes l'davarim gedolim, ein maspekes l'davarim ketanim. She does make enough money for her to be able to live off the necessities, the big things, but it's just the small little things that she won't be able to get. So 1 second. If these are things that she's accustomed to have, so therefore it doesn't matter that they're considered small. If this is what she's rugil, so then you need to provide that for her as well. Now, again, if these are things that she doesn't normally need, so then you don't need a parnes either to give those things to her. So then it doesn't make sense either way you look at it. That in her father's house, she had a very affluent father, and she gave him he gave her a lot of beautiful things, even for devarim ketanim, even for small things. However, once she got married to this guy who was not as rich, she kind of rolled with it. And she said that even though you, my husband, don't make as much as my father, it's okay. I'm not going to need these things, these small things that my father used to provide. However, the Amalei, but she could say like this: Adin up until now was able to withstand it because the low darton, since you didn't make a neder against me, so Galgalina Bahadoch, I accepted your lower standards. Harahashda the adarton lomatzina the galgil Bahadoch. But now, because here you are making these nedarim against me, you're saying these things against me, and making a neder, so in that situation, forget it. This is not acceptable. And therefore, it's necessary to give her those small things. And those small things even though she has Masyadeha to cover the Mazonos, the big things, but the Parnes is needed to give her the small things. So, okay, fine. So, Maishna Ad Lamed Yoim. So, why is it for 30 days? So, Ad Lamed Yoim, Lo Shalme Ba Inchi, Lo Zil Ba Milsa. Because the first 30 days, people don't know about this arrangement. It's an embarrassing thing that your husband makes a neder, that you can't get anything. But news doesn't spread that fast. So the first 30 days is not a big deal. However, more than that, people hear about your tactics and how you deal with me, and it's embarrassing. So therefore, after 30 days, she is yotzviting ksuba. So that's one possibility. Imoy seima shehadira kashi arusa. Really, what happened was he made this neder against her when she was in arusa. Now we know. For the Gemara, Arusa mi Isla Mazaini. Why do you have to have a parnes? If she's in Arusa, the first year, while he's making those preparations, he doesn't have to give her any mazonos. So what's the big deal? They made this vow that I'm not going to give you mazonos. He doesn't have to anyway. Gemara says, you're right. But shegiz man lo nisoi. The non hegiz man lo nisoi echels mishov echels betruma. As we know that, let's say if the year went by, and he still didn't marry her, so now at this point, he now has to give her mazonos, even though they're not married. So this is what ended up happening. So he made this neder when the chiyuv didn't take place. But then all of a sudden, the year went in, and here this neder still remained. So now he has a chiyuv to give her mazonos. So ma'ishna ad shloshim yoim. So what's the deal? The first 30 days, ad shloshim yoim abid shliach shlichuse. The shliach is going to do a shlichus. All right, for a small period of time, I'll do you a favor and I'll help you out for the first 30 days. However, more than 30 days, this is crazy. I'm not going to do this anymore. So therefore, after 30 days, you're not going to have a shliach, a parnes, to be able to help you out. What happened was that you made a neder during Erison, when you did not need to give her mazonos, and then you actually married her. So Nises hasvar v'kibla doesn't make any sense. If she got married, says Rashi, dahash dachayim b'mazonoseha v'haneder kvar chalav. So it says Rashi, Yodasi shenesar alav l'zuna v'nises lo. She knew the deal and she accepted it. So what's the problem? Because the Amr Ksvurani, I thought Shani Yechoel Kabel, I thought I was able to accept this whole thing, but Achshav now I realize Ani Yechoel Kabel, this is too much for me. What do we say? There's Gabi Mumin. We only make that idea of changing your mind when it comes to a mum. Okay, I thought I was able to withstand the mumim, but now I realize I can't live with this mum that this person has. However, regarding mazonos, says Rashi, Svur Hayisi Yodasi, she Efshulabul mazonos. So obviously, when it comes to a mum, you could live with your spouse having a mum, but you can't live without mazonos. So the fact that you knew about it and you accepted it, so that's it. We can't retract. So therefore, that can't be the explanation. Rather, we go back to what we said originally. Question 4. Hamadras ishto milhanaislo ad lamed yoim yabed parnes. So my shna shleshim yoim. Why 30 days? So answer number 1 is up until 30 days. Lo shalmei ba inchi, people don't hear about it. Lo zila ba milsa, it's not embarrassing. Today shalmei ba zila ba milsa, afterwards it's embarrassing. Or ad lamed yoim abed shliach shechusa today lo abed shliach shechuse. After that amount of time, typically you're not going to have the person do their shlichus. Okay. All right. Well, we actually before we get to the 2 dots, actually let's see a couple of these questions. TB 26. This is going all the way back to the previous parak. That's okay. So he says that when it comes to metaltal, and the mekach is a good mekach and it's a good sale. However, it's not betrapa, say mechel mechav ein machron mecher. So that was TB 26, which is similar to question 3 that we had. Okay, let's see if there's another question over here. Hamadras isha shlotecha beis avia. Okay, we didn't do that yet. TA 24. Hamadras ishto v'gemar parach ivan demushobed lahechem asimadua. Madul mishani shehadira kashi arusa v'nises. Why don't we just say that situation that she was an arusa and then she got married? So we said because the sabra of a kibla, it must be that she was makabel the mazonis, so that she was not going to get the mazonis, and therefore that's the reason why we said that cannot be a valid answer. Those TA24. So let's mark this down. TA24. So the Omer Ksvorani. So Ibo said Kishadir Kishiarus of Nises. So whereas Nises Hasab of a Kibla. Okay, fine. Weiter. Let's now see the next piece of Gemara. Ashlashim Yomi Yabed Parnis. So Parnis Lavshu Chuse Ka'avid. It doesn't really make any sense. It's still the husband that's feeding her through this Parnis. Shliach Shaladim Kamosu. So if he's doing the Shlichus for me, so it's like I'm doing it anyway. So how is that any different? And he shouldn't be allowed to do that either. So Rav Huna, Ba'omer, a person who says, Kol Azan Inam Afsid. Anyone who gives her mazonos is not going to lose out. So he didn't really appoint him as a shliach, but the person got the hint and he understood. So Miyam Rinan Hachi, okay, Inam Afsid. V'chiyam Hachi Lav Shechuse Ka'avid. But Tanan, Misha Haya Mushlach Babor. A person, let's say, is in a pit. Anyone hears my voice, Yichtav Gil Ishto, please write a get for my wife. So we say that you could actually, they could do it. And it actually works, says Rashi. Afagav the Loi Amrle was Seifer Kasoif, even though he didn't say to a scribe write it. Hachanami Afagav the Loi Amrle Lazun Shluchehu. It's still a shliach. The Hachi Hashta. Hasam Kaimer Yichtav. Hachami Kaimer Yazun. Kolazan Kaimer. So he didn't actually say it explicitly, like he said, write a get. Over there, it's shlichus. But over here, he didn't say, give her mazonos. He just said, anyone who gives mazonos is not going to lose out. Kol azan karmer. So that's not like the level of shlichus. When it comes to a fire on Shabbos, because Rashi says, mitoich sha'adam bohu amamoino, a person will maybe extinguish the flame. If we don't allow certain heterim when it comes to this, a person's going to violate Shabbos entirely, so his house doesn't burn down. So hatir lomer kol machavin masid. We say that dafka in that situation, anyone who extinguishes the flames will not lose out. I'll make sure you're paid for all your hard work. Now, but the leiko mutimai lama mutin ki agabda. Probably it's come to exclude our case that you're not allowed to do this. Lo, muti shar isurin the Shabbos. It's coming to exclude other isurin. Says Rashi, the chamiri v'lo hetir behen lomer ha'isali malacha zu inu mafsid. Kadeshi yishmu avdi kachavim v'yasu abu b'nadarim l'gazer. So when it comes to Shabbos, this is just saying this regarding to any other din of Shabbos. Just when it comes to a house burning down on Shabbos, that's where we're lenient. When it comes to other dinim of having someone do malacha for you on Shabbos, there we are not lenient. However, we cannot learn out anything when it comes to our case that maybe it's not allowed to be done. Fine. Mason Rabba. So Rabbi asks a question. Hamudar hanom bechavero, a person who makes a neder against his friend, ve'ein lo ma yoichel, and his friend has no food. So Yelech Eitzel Chen, so you can go to a store in which you're frequent there often, and therefore they know you, they trust you. You say, Ish ploi nimudar hanami meni. This person made a neder. I don't know what to do. So who the storekeeper nice and low can give? He can take from this other guy. So hachihu deshari. In this situation, because it's quite indirect, it's allowed. Of a kol hazan in a mafsid lo. L'char is saying that isn't so indirect. Lo maboy kamer. Lo maboy kol hazan in a mafsid dil alma kaimer. That in that situation, Rashi says lo dami l'shlichus klal. That's not like a shliach. Dil yichid ish lasaiso. You didn't appoint anyone to do this. You just made screamed on the rooftops for someone to hopefully hear it. There was no individual that you specified. But you're going to this chavini who you are frequent to. So the fact that you said it, it almost sounds like you're the one and you're making this person to a shliach, so you think maybe it wouldn't work because there's a neder against them. So kamashmulan, it still works. Gufa hamudar hanam lechaver ve'eno ma yoichel. Again, what happens? The person has no food and there's a neder. So so this person made so you can't get any henna from me, but unfortunately the guy is poor. So who nice and low? So the storekeeper will give him food. The storekeeper will then go to the other guy and to this person and take the money from him. Base will live nice, a house to build. Ugederu ligdor, fence to build, to fence. Usadeu liktsor, a field to harvest. Hoyluch etzel poalim haragil netzlo. And you say the same thing to workers. And I know he has this field, he has all this stuff, it needs to be taken care of. You know, so so again, they'll do the work, and then they'll indirectly be getting paid by him. Person's traveling, has nothing to eat. Should be given to someone else as a gift. And then the other person can take it. So you can't take the food directly from me because you made a nether against me. So instead, I'll give the food to someone else, and they'll be the owners, and they can give it to you. Let's say there's no one else around. So So I'll put it on the ground, on a fence, on a rock. And I'll be mafkert, and therefore, obviously, you can come around afterwards and take it. Rabbi Yosi says, no, you can't do that. So I'm a Rabbi, my time to Rabbi Yosi. Why can't you just put it down and be mafkert? Because there, Mishom, as we continue, I know, because a masa de beis chayrin. So what is this referring to? Rashi just said it's in Masechtas Nedarim. A man wanted his father, who made a nether against him, to come to the son's wedding. So the father gave over all the expenses to a different person, and it was very clear he only did so to get his father to come to the wedding, and it ended up causing problems. He ended up keeping it for himself, etc. So because of that story, so therefore you're not allowed to do this type of a trick, if you will. It will not work. Okay. Let's see if there's another question here. There's nothing there. Not on no TA question. Nothing on the regular task questions. TB Hamadras Ishta Shotech Besavia Adkan.